Quizá alguna vez has visto el concierto en la azotea y te has preguntado quién es este tipo que sostiene la letra de Don't Let Me Down para John Lennon. Y luego quizá viste el documental de Get Back y lo llegaste a ver sirviendo té y moviendo cosas en el estudio. Pues él es Kevin Harrington, ROADIE y asistente personal de los Beatles, que entre 1968 y 1970, siendo tan solo un adolescente de 18 años, empezó a trabajar con el cuarteto de Liverpool, como petición de Mal Evans, quien era el principal asistente de ellos en todas sus giras. Pues Kevin Harrington lanzó no hace mucho un libro muy interesante y que al final del video les voy a pasar el nombre de este. El punto aquí es que estuve recopilando información sobre este tipo y me encontré con anécdotas muy interesantes.
They were recording when I went down, when I first started out, first day, it was Revolution number 9. And I just couldn't believe what I was listening to, you know, I'm thinking, this is not the Beatles, this is crap, you know. This is not what I was expecting, you know. Yeah. I felt an affection for George, mainly because when I first started with them on the Double White album. And so the night I actually did start with them, I'm like hiding, sort of standing behind this box on a stand, which I now know is called a monitor. You know, I didn't know that then, you know. And George was sitting on the floor just, you know, playing the guitar away on it. And everybody's sort of getting their stuff together. And he just said, Bevan, come over, sit down. You know, tell me all about yourself. And so that kind of just, that chilled me out a lot. I was still, you know, a bit daunted about what I was letting myself in for. You know, but it was kind of, that was the start of just easing into the job with George. So I also found out that during that chat, he used to ride around delivering meat for a butcher's on a bike with a basket on the front. Well, I used to do the same in London, but for a grocer's, doing loaves of bread to little hotels around the West End in the mornings, you know, so before I went to school. So we had kind of that in common. So I always felt more affinity with George. In EMI, they had these fluorescent lights set up because they got fed up with just this whiteness for 12 hours, 10 hours, 6 hours, you know. So they wanted a bit of mood, a bit of atmosphere. So they rigged up these fluorescent lights, 6 of them, 2 yellow, 2 red, and 2 blue. And one night, I think the reds were on, and you know, at that time of night, there's cables in the studio all over the place, right? You know, and John was in a little sound booth, singing away, or starting to sing away, and I'm just trying to move, you know, go from one place to another, you know, without, you know, making a sound. But my foot caught his headphone wire went through a little hole in the bottom of the booth and came out, right, and to the box on the floor. Well, I tripped over that, and I just wrenched his headphones off, and he just screamed, "Fuck out!" And the engineer thought it was him putting the volume up too much, and so, you know, I just thought, "No, sorry, John," and just went a lot. They were doing a song called Bungalow Bill, and they wanted a chorus. And so I was just sitting there as normal, just doing nothing, you know, waiting for something to happen. I went, "Kevin, come and be part of the chorus." And so, right, all together now. Hey, bungalow. And it was, I'm not a singer, you know. And so when I sing, and I have to sing, I would kind of go, rather than that, you know, and be totally out of tune. When you're singing low, you don't really have to be in tune. You're just like this, you know. And so I just sang real low, just trying not to be heard. Although I do think I can hear it on the, I've got a feeling that might just be psychotic, but I can hear myself underneath there somewhere, just singing the chorus. Yeah. They asked me to hand clap, and at that time my confidence just was not as high as it is now, you know, and I didn't really want to mess up. So I think I tried a couple of times, you know, and just was so nervous. You know, I just had to say, I can't do this. I'm going to mess up. I can't do this, you know. So I just went, no, I got to sit down, you know, just to be straight up.
En la siguiente anécdota habla de cuando George compró la enorme mansión de Friar Park y le pidió a Kevin ir a vivir con él porque necesitaba ayuda con todo el lugar.
Just one night, George just walked into the control room because they all came into the control room at sort of various times. You know, it could be 6:30 to 7 o'clock. You know, depending on when they were all scheduled to start. Because George is coming from way off, John's coming from way off. You know, Paul lives just over the road. You know, and Ringo's just in London. So there's always like about a 20-25 minute gap. And so that time it's always okay. I make them tea, get them coffee and all of that, because I've already set the studio up. That's done. You know, I'm just waiting now for them. And George walks in and just, hey, Kevin, I've just moved into this house, this big house. And there's only me, Patty, and Terry Doran, or Terry. Terry Doran was his assistant. And it's really big. Do you want to come and move in for a bit just to make up the numbers? And I said, yeah, because you never said no. And I said, yeah, you know. He said, okay, well, tomorrow just bring a bag and change your clothes and we'll go to my place tomorrow night. And so next day, got a bag. And at the end of the session, you know, sort of did what I had to do. And then we drove out to George's place and so this has got to be about 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, out to Henley-on-Thames. And we go through the big gates, you know, it's just like, ooh, okay. And up this drive. And then in the headlights, there's just this Gothic mansion, you know, it's just like, it was something out of the Hammer horror film, you know, it was just like, wow, you know. And then we go through the big doors and enter this massive room, you know, and there's like gallery around, but it's all dark because there's no bulbs, there's no light bulbs, you know. It was that primitive there that there was nothing really, you know, a few light bulbs just so they could see into the kitchen. And my first night I was sleeping in, they put me up in the library, it's called, right? It was a small room basically on the ground floor off of the hall. And so Terry had got me a mattress and a sleeping bag and a pillow. And I just sort of, because I was like really stoned, you know, in those days we did get really stoned. And that night it was just windy. And so these things are doing like this, but on the walls, there's all of these shadows going backwards and forwards and, you know, and it's like, here I am in a Hammer house of horror, you know, and I've got all of these, you know, and I was just like, oh, and it was kind of weird. It really was just, and that was it. Woke up the next morning. Yeah. It was owned by some nuns before George bought it. And so they just stripped everything. As soon as they left, you know, they took all the bulbs and everything else. So, and the grounds were just so overcrowded and everything was a mess, basically. And so it was a question of just, okay, doing whatever Terry or Patty or George wanted to do, whether it's sweeping up, you know, putting light bulbs in, washing windows, you know. And when it got a bit warmer, I think we were out in the garden a lot, just chopping and hacking and cutting grass. And yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful time. Clapton turned up with Ginger Baker, just one day. And Ginger Baker sort of must have been on that. It was like, fucking hell, man. Wow. And it was just like, you know, priceless, absolutely priceless. I took him to Incredibles. I think I was there for about 4.5 months or so, 5 months, and then the Krishnas came. And so my presence wasn't needed because the house was now full. So I just moved back to London. And yeah, But an amazing few months, I must admit.
Pues estas fueron algunas de las anécdotas de las que Harrington habla en su libro llamado Who is the Redhead on the Roof. Es un libro corto de 60 páginas y que lo pueden leer digitalmente en Script. Les voy a dejar el link en la descripción.